The intercom crackles, a code word plays, and kids file into a corner in near silence. Inside the classroom, the drill looks flawless, but out in the hallways, it is often a completely different story. Drills built solely around getting students to sit still and stay quiet only measure one thing: whether children can follow a routine under mild stress. They completely fail to verify if the adults running the building actually know how to execute the emergency plan. This creates an illusion known as safety theater. The result is a building full of confident-looking kids and completely untested adults. Small schools, which typically operate on tight margins and zero dedicated security budgets, are especially vulnerable to relying on this facade. A perfectly written plan falls apart quickly because real emergencies introduce an ordinary worst-case Tuesday. They strike when a substitute teacher has never seen the safety protocol, when a delivery driver props open a side door, or when the principal supposed to call the lockdown is out sick. Closing this dangerous gap doesn't require overhauling the entire system or buying an expensive new plan. Small schools simply need a free, actionable way to stress test the procedures already sitting in their binders against reality. A pilot doesn't learn the emergency checklist for the first time while the engines are failing mid-flight. They rehearse it calmly on the ground until it becomes second nature. This diagram maps out our first test, the staff tabletop exercise. It takes 20 to 30 minutes. Adults sit down, without the students, and vocally walk through the structural logic of their procedures to find the gaps. They solve what-if scenarios out loud. If the main entrance is obstructed by a delivery truck, who is responsible for finding the alternate exit route through the east hallway? If the primary authority figure is absent, who takes command? Resolving the immediate threat on campus is only half the job. An emergency isn't actually over until every student is safely returned home. Without a clear protocol, a parking lot full of panicked, unverified parents quickly turns a resolved incident into a secondary crisis. The standard reunification method is a public framework designed specifically to control that chaos. Executing this method costs absolutely nothing. You send one clear, proactive message to parents at the start of the year, naming the exact reunification site and the specific ID they will need to bring, long before a crisis ever occurs. By solving logistical failures internally and setting parental expectations externally, you move the hardest learning curves out of an actual crisis and into a low-stakes afternoon. We wouldn't want a flight attendant announcing turbulence by gripping their seat in terror. Delivering drill instructions to students with a flat, urgent tone does the exact same thing. It trains a young nervous system to feel fear rather than competence. Our third test fixes this psychological framing. Adults must use a short, unhurried script tailored to the student's age. They actively frame the event as practice, out loud, creating a clear boundary between a rehearsal and reality. The adult's calm tone, repeated exactly the same way every single time, regulates the child's nervous system. The goal is to make the drill incredibly boring instead of traumatic. Even with flawless execution, physical spaces change over time. Assuming a printed plan remains accurate year after year is like trusting a smoke detector with a dead battery. This matrix represents the fourth and final test, a one-page annual physical audit. This tool catches exactly where the physical building has slowly drifted away from the procedures written on paper. Staff physically walk the halls to verify the environment. They check if marked exits are now blocked by new furniture, if the intercom reaches the portable classrooms, and if the listed phone extensions still dial out. Managing the psychological delivery for students and physically auditing the environment ensures that the safety plan actually functions in reality, rather than just existing neatly in a binder. A 30-minute staff tabletop, one proactive email to parents, a single consistent sentence for kids, and a one-page yearly physical walkthrough. These 4 steps change the focus of school safety. The burden of preparedness moves off the student's ability to follow a routine and rests on the adult's ability to lead through a crisis. The goal was never to make lockdown drills feel more terrifying or serious for the children in the classroom. Instead, that seriousness must be directed at something testable and real: the structural integrity of the adult response. A successful safety plan isn't measured by a room full of perfectly quiet kids. It is measured by adults who can confidently execute the plan on a terrible day, and schools now have 4 practical habits to verify that readiness for free.